As I explore the space that once housed Rose Davies' brothel, my mind's eye looks past this present-day veneer.
Yeah, I know. I let this go specifically because I was like, William is writing this down.
There are things in this world that we will never fully understand. We want answers.
We have worked years to build our credibility, our reputation.
Watching the most renowned professionals in the field, capturing groundbreaking proof of the paranormal.
This is their evidence. Our Ghost Adventures. Hello, welcome to Guide to the Unknown. I'm Kristen.
And I'm her little brother, William.
And this week we are talking about the premiere episode of season 28 of Ghost Adventures, the infamous Travel Channel show starring Zak Bagans and his merry band of buddies.
Oh, wow, what a show.
What a show. Was a shocker. So we have dipped in and out of talking about Ghost Adventures here and there.
Yes.
We hadn't done it in a good while. Mm-hmm. And boy, did we pick one to come back to.
This was crazy.
This episode took place in Ogden, Utah. Mm-hmm. And they were investigating two separate buildings that had a checkered past. And the aspect of their past that the episode leaned the most heavily on was its history as a brothel.
Yes.
And boy, did they use that to an effect.
Oh, yes. If you thought that Zak Bagans would be able to handle a ghost story in a brothel with taste and restraint, we're watching different shows.
You know, I thought potentially, because his now long time, I guess I would say, girlfriend of years, Holly Madison, who was a longtime Playboy playmate, worked in the sex industry, a branch of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I thought that maybe he would have a level of respect for this that would surprise us. No.
At some point in this episode, he uses the phrase, "We became as giddy as schoolboys." That's what something Zak Bagans says in this episode. "We became as giddy as schoolboys." I was like, that's true. Yeah. They were jumping up and down and going like, whoa, oh, at a thing in this episode that was like so stupid and funny, but stupid.
It was pretty incredible, I must say. He became as the most unkempt I've ever seen him during that part.
In years. Mm-hmm. Because I think of this show as being like, you know, we had done a spin-off podcast called Ghost Adventures a few years ago, where we were going to try to watch every episode of Ghost Adventures and talk about it. And it was very fun to do, but looking at it too much started making me angry.
We burned out quickly.
I just couldn't do it every week.
And also, it was fun, but we were like, let's make it a little different from Guide to the Unknown. Let's have segments. That was a pain in the ass.
Yeah, we made it work for ourselves instead of a joy to do, which was a big mistake in doing a podcast. Mm-hmm. But since it has been a sizable gap, as I always say, whenever we end up doing this again, I don't remember the last time we did this, but it was delightful.
I know. As soon as I saw him, I was like, whoa, just the way that he talks, the way that he uses language and spins a yarn, it is so particular to him and so weird. Yeah. And it felt great to be back.
I will say this before we really get into it. I almost had like a panic attack when I hit play on this episode.
Okay.
So I had been, right before I started watching the show, which as you said is season 28, episode 1, the season 28 premiere.
Yeah.
However, confusingly on HBO Max or Max, whatever, it's listed as episode 2 because they can't, for some reason, organize the episodes of this show.
Yeah, I think I cracked it. When we were doing Ghost Adventures, we were always, like, we did it sequentially, but every once in a while, especially toward the end, we were like, all right, I think we're going to be wrapping this up soon. Let's just jump to this infamous episode or this infamous episode. And it was never actually on the app the same season this, episode this, as listed online. And I think I have found out why. They will sometimes have specials, like a 2-hour on TV special. And rather than that living in its own listing, they will just list that within a season.
Right.
So there was a special about Skinwalkers or something that before this season started, and yet is listed as episode 1 of season 28, but it's not.
Even though they don't seem to consider it episode 1.
No.
So it's an organizational nightmare.
Yeah.
Google has different episode and season numbers. It's insane. Just solve it. Just fix it.
Yeah.
You can fix it. I will fix it for them, Kristen.
Oh, yeah.
But so before I hit play, yes, I had been standing at the kitchen counter eating chicken salad. When suddenly an idea struck me for a story.
Yeah.
And I thought I better write this down before I forget it. So I came into the living room and I got my laptop and I hit play on the television. I was going to write down my idea real quick. But no, I couldn't, because the second that I hit play, Zak Bagans... Listen, I've got this like mantra in my head. It's Super Dave Osborne, comedian Super Dave Osborne on the Norm Macdonald show, yelling, "Get to it!" Zak Bagans,
he gets right to it.
God love him, he gets right to it. But he started launching into this buzzword-laden introduction to the episode. It erased my memory. I was trying to do something else other than focus on the show, but then I instantly had to pivot and start writing down verbatim exactly how he was introducing everything. It took me like 3 hours to watch this 1 hour show because I wrote down so many quotes.
I kept pausing.
Had to go frame by frame through the closed captions.
Yes.
It erased my mind how he introduced this show, Kristen.
Well, I have his intro.
So do I.
Down. Okay.
So do I.
You want me to read it, and then we will go for our break and come
Read
back?
the introduction. Yeah. I think that sounds good.
So I'm not going to do the voice. You know what his voice sounds like. Well, then you read it. I suck at his voice.
You can do it.
Okay. We're in Ogden, Utah. I'm doing it a little bit. This is a really mysterious situation. So all I've been told is that we're going to investigate a couple buildings that have a dangerous history and a presence that also fits that adjective. Okay, first of all.
I know, I had to pause so many times. He can't say more than 5 words without me being like, I've got notes.
What? Okay, first of all, it's funny to say, it's just a weird phrasing, and something that also fits that adjective. Like, he thinks that's kind of like good wordplay. Also, he says it's a presence that also fits that adjective. So presence, can mean ghost. However, I think that what he meant to say was a present that also fits that adjective, because he's saying that it has a dangerous history. And what would mirror that is its present.
Yes, you're right. That's the contrast. Past and present both have the same adjective.
Right. But
dark.
He says, and a
Dangerous.
presence.
A presence.
That also fits that adjective.
You're right. That is weird. It's like, it's
a
like
lot is going on in that head.
he misread his teleprompter.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think there's a teleprompter.
No, there's no teleprompter.
The teleprompter of the mind, I guess. Before we go to this location, I'm going to meet somebody. She wants to talk to me before we enter the doors of the location that we're going to investigate. All that I do know is that this location is literally soaked in blood.
Which it was not.
No.
Wrong use of literally.
Yeah.
I wrote this down. I don't know why. So it opens, he says all that on a street corner as his boys are all standing behind him.
Yeah.
Looking around as if they're
waiting,
making
like something's
sure.
gonna happen.
Yeah, anything could happen at any moment. If a ghost runs up, try to grab him before they get to Zach.
Yeah.
They're like
We
standing
must
behind
save
him like his
Zach
bodyguards.
At any cost.
They're all
Yeah.
dressed the same. They
Well, I will say we're dressed the same right now, so we shouldn't throw stones.
Yeah, but there's like a quality to the way these fellas dress that is a little more Limp Bizkit than just wearing all black.
I think it's really just their essence.
Like an edginess.
Yeah.
I don't know. But so for some reason, it struck me that the way he was talking, it looked and sounded to me like when people film those YouTuber apology videos. He said everything with such vagary, as if a lawyer had consulted him not to give away too much. So he keeps just saying, all I've been told is we're going to investigate a couple buildings that have a dangerous history, blah, blah, blah. Before we go to this location, I'm going to meet somebody. He never says anything definitive. It's all vague all the time. He essentially says, this location has a situation, but all that I've been told is it's a location with a situation.
Yeah,
it's so vague. It was so crazy to me that I was like, this is an anti-intro. You're not telling me anything.
It's absolutely true. We can keep going from here. Let's take a quick break. We're going to do a quick commercial break, and we're going to keep coming back and talk about these 3 sentences.
We just can't
for like
stop.
the whole show. Okay, quick commercial break. Here, we'll be right back. Okay, this was something that I noticed, I think is fresh for season 28. However, as I'm saying that, I just realized I don't know if I saw season 27.
No,
I don't know. But they were really playing up him meeting with this person as though this was something to be nervous about almost.
Yes, this was crazy.
Like the boys walked him to the door of the restaurant that he was meeting this person at. They were almost talking as though this was going to be an anonymous drop of Zak.
Yes, he describes that he has to meet his contact at the rendezvous point. He speaks, he says rendezvous point. It sounds like he's in a Mission Impossible type situation. Mm-hmm. And it even continues where it's like the four boys, the ghost boys, walk down the street to the rendezvous point where Zak's going to meet his contact to talk about the location.
Yeah.
And it's a diner.
Right. It's just a normal restaurant.
And Zak goes in alone. As if you were watching Mission Impossible and Tom Cruise is like, the contact isn't expecting more than one person. I have to pretend to be the person that's supposed to be at this meeting.
Yeah.
Benji, Simon Pegg, you stay out here. I'll go in alone.
They walk him to the door.
It's Zak Bagans going alone into a diner.
Right.
To sit and talk to just a normal human being who's like, yeah, no, I've lived in Ogden.
Whose name we know. And like I don't know, as soon as he starts talking to her, nothing is weird or clandestine about this whole thing. And also,
the diner's weird.
I don't even know if it's actually weird. They just shot it all dark.
I looked into this diner.
Okay.
All right. You're going to think I'm a little bit insane.
No.
It's called the No Frills Diner in Ogden, Utah. It's like the #1 best diner or whatever, according to their website. It's a normal diner.
Yeah.
Zak Bagans forced them, like their production, I mean, worked with them, paid them, or just asked them, hey, can you turn off all the lights in the diner?
Right.
We want Zak to walk into a pitch black diner where his one contact is sitting at the only table that has a spotlight on it.
Yes, it's just very dark.
It is so dramatic.
Yeah, and then they have a thing that I haven't seen on the show before where they have, how do I say it? I don't know. They intro her by having her look straight into the camera. The camera changes quality. So rather than it being like
a film camera,
reality show style, it's film camera. And she's looking into it kind of ominously. And then, she and Zak start talking or whatever. But just, it's like this drama that I haven't experienced on the show before.
I was shocked.
I
was like, what has this become?
Same. I was like, how long has it been since I watched this?
I know, because the show, I'm so used to the early stuff because that's what we had focused so much on it. We've looked occasionally at more modern things.
Yeah.
This is as modern as it gets as of this recording. And I was gobsmacked by how self-serious and kind of like pretentious this show has become.
Yeah, I was very surprised.
So I looked at the website for the No Frills Diner, and it's just a regular website, which makes sense because it's just a normal diner.
Right.
But this made me laugh. They've got 3 reviews on the page, just to like show off, like, here's what people have said about the No Frills Diner.
Yeah.
And so like they get cut off after certain, there's like a character limit of what they can show. So Janet said, great food, great service, oldies music, and then goes on to say something, but it turns into ... Michelle said, good food, good atmosphere, reasonable ... You assume she's going to say reasonable prices. The third review I thought was weird. Govind says, switched my trading to financial analyst Benjamin ... So I'm pretty sure the No Frills Diner, whoever built the website, had also built a website for a financial analyst.
Or that...
And that one review accidentally ended up on the diner website, but that made me laugh.
I will say, it looks like it's pulling the reviews from Facebook.
It's not. Those links are dead. You can click to read the full review and it doesn't go anywhere.
Oh, okay.
So it's not.
So I was going to say, it's like, I was thinking maybe like how on Amazon there'll be a review for something that's completely unrelated on a page. So the person just clicked the wrong thing, but who knows? That is funny.
A third of their reviews are somebody talking about fiscal decisions they've made in their life. I mean, maybe the No Frills kept them rolling in milkshakes and chicken fingers. I don't know.
It's so dark in that diner. It'd be hard to see what you're doing.
Maybe you forgot what business you're in. I thought I was at a shady lawyer's office.
Right.
Anyway.
So yeah, he goes and meets up with Jackie, and she tells him a little bit of the history of the area and tells him that it was a wild town. There was like a mega red light district back in the day, and there was a notorious madam running the show named Rose Davy.
Yes.
And she said it seems like she still might be hanging around here, and people have said that they have seen her and seen like basically a lot of sightings of a woman wearing a long dress.
Yes. But that's kind of fun to be like, it harkens back to like Prohibition era.
Yeah.
Hidden bars, a brothel upstairs.
Yep.
Right. And she slides a mugshot of Rose Davy over to Zach. Oh, also something funny that Jackie said. She was like, I don't know how much you know. We did talk.
Yeah.
But let me explain to you the history. And he's like, no, I don't know anything. No. But anyway, she slides a mugshot of Rose Davy over and he goes, she doesn't look very friendly.
I know.
It's a mugshot. How friendly do people often look in mugshots?
I will say, I got to give him this. He's right.
He's right.
She doesn't look very friendly.
She did not look very friendly.
She's just a scowling gal having her mugshot taken.
Yeah.
With a very bold lip. I will say she's drawn on an interesting lip shape.
True.
In a bold color.
Very true.
Yeah. You can look it up.
He also says, now there was a lot of murder at this building too, right? And Jackie, it's a shame. She goes, oh, there was many murders.
Yeah.
There was many murders.
I think he found a kindred spirit.
I know,
in
just
Jackie.
like the garbled up past tense. There was many murders. I loved it. I loved it. And then Zach, they smashed to like go into the buildings themselves with Zach's voiceover. The brutality and murder. Oh, there was a place called the El Borracho.
Yeah.
It's like a bar that was beneath.
And he always calls it the El Borracho.
Oh, does he? I didn't notice the rolling of the R's.
Yes.
The Borracho.
Not even that good. I don't know.
Borracho. So the El Borracho downstairs from Rose's brothel, that was the place where all the murders really happened.
Yeah.
Because it was a bar.
Yeah, it was a very, very violent bar.
And Jackie told us
crowd.
that the Transcontinental Railroad met in the middle at Ogden, Utah. So it was a place where like people from the West Coast and East Coast would meet and clash.
Yep.
So at this bar, it was like Old West stuff.
Yeah.
People would be like, I guess it was like, have too many drinks, get into a duel. I don't know. People were murdered all the time.
And that's also probably partially why there was a brothel. Like, it's kind of like
There's
transitory.
business. Yes.
There's business. It's like Route 1, like where there are all the motels where you can pay by the hour.
The Beauty Rest Motel.
Yeah.
Allie told me that she saw.
And the Loop.
She said the Loop.
The Loop is a motel with a bunch of themed rooms where you can pay by the hour.
Oh, right. Yes. I know about that.
This is Route 1. It might be like Route 19 in New Jersey if you want to look it up. I can't think of what town it turned. It might be like Woodbridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Al told me that I don't remember where she went, but somebody walked in wearing a Beauty Rest Motel shirt.
That's awesome. I want a Beauty Rest Motel shirt.
I'm sure they were an employee, but that is kind of a cool shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he says the brutality and murder that the El Borracho was known for spanned decades. And I'd never seen this before on the show either. They have all this B-roll
I know.
of men murdering each other.
Yes.
And it was well shot.
All of a sudden it turns like dusty sepia tone.
Yeah.
To like cowboys kicking the shit out of each other.
I will say Zach's seriousness is always funny to me.
Yeah.
And he needs to grab your attention as much as possible to make sure you don't click away or anything, which it certainly did. I forgot everything I was going to do the moment I hit play.
Yeah.
But his comedic personality clashes for me a little bit with how professional this production has really gotten.
Right.
Like as a documentary or a mockumentary, I don't know what Ghost Adventures is anymore.
Yeah.
It's like impeccably produced.
I know.
It's beautiful.
It's
silly to me
done.
that they made the diner turn off all the lights because Zach is a dark boy.
That was so weird.
The new spookiest
that
boy in
whole
Tinseltown.
intro was so strange. I don't know why they built it up so crazily.
So aggressive.
Just to meet with a normal person whose name they show on screen. They made it seem like it was going to be an anonymous drop.
And she was just like, out of this building is weird.
Hi, I'm Jackie.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah.
I got a chicken Caesar wrap.
Right.
Scrumptious.
Yes. It's so bizarre.
The atmosphere lives a little to be desired.
Right.
At the No Frills Diner.
What can you do? The fiscal advice is top notch.
Top notch.
So then he goes to talk to the owner of these two buildings next to each other, whose name is Jared.
Yeah.
And he said that he thought that these buildings were for sure cursed when he bought them, and that they were in major disrepair. And as they were working on getting them up and running, they just kept hitting crazy crazy issues as they were trying to get things operational. And at one point he said he wished he had just never started because it was just like problem after problem after problem. And he wondered if they kind of disturbed something during the renovation, shook some ghosties loose.
And that, Zach is basically like, whatever they dug up in the basement, did he unleash a demon?
Right.
Which is,
we didn't revisit that.
No.
Yeah.
I was confused by that, actually. He actually says, is there some type of energy underlying here that was possessing people to do these violent crimes and literally kill people?
Yeah, so I guess he's saying that the people back in the day who were killing each other in the El Borracho, perhaps they normally would have just talked it out like gentlemen.
Right.
But some sort of demon energy just got them angry.
And that feels like a huge, confusing blunder. I know that like
I
this
feel
show,
like it's just they're just things that they go to by rote.
Yeah.
So
without thinking.
Right, exactly. So like if you hear that somebody was doing work on ground level of a place, your mind just naturally goes, all right, so they like shook loose a demon that was down there.
Because you know why? Because there are pipes under the ground, and if you damage a pipe, you could get a leak. So why couldn't you damage a ghost?
You get a ghost leak.
Some sort of a ghost zone under the building that sprays ghosts up into the building.
Probably.
And then people were hurting each other. Probably was a demon that made him do it. Now, I've never seen... I've tried to watch...
The demon made me do it.
Oh, Kristen. I've tried to watch the cartoon, The Real Ghostbusters, a few times without it ever taking.
Yeah.
Now, most recent, there was a new Ghostbusters movie, whatever it was, Frozen Empire. And so I tried watching the cartoon show again. I feel like every time I watch that cartoon show, it always starts with like cartoony New York MTA workers under a building. And then they find a ghost portal.
Yeah.
It's like funny to me that Zak Bagans is essentially saying like, is there a real Ghostbusters situation happening under the El Borracho?
Yeah.
But also the demon thing, like what? People can't just murder each other? It's always a demon who's making people kill each other? There's never just pure conflict. Did a demon make them kill each other during the height of prohibition and crime and running money and clashing in this one small town? It had to be a demon behind it.
It was probs a demon.
Never just murder. Always definitely demon.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's always a Catholicized version of a ghosty thing. You know, it's a demon.
A demon. Is it
Which
not
is the
enough?
common language, obviously, but still, it's just always that.
Are ghosts just not enough anymore for him? They've been doing this for 28 seasons.
Yeah.
You know, quote unquote 28 seasons, whatever that, math works out to for years.
Year-wise, I don't know.
But like, are demons just the arms race of like, it's not exciting enough unless there might be a demon at play? They never really get back to it. It's like you said, he just sort of, it's by rote. He just blurts it out because sometimes I talk about demons.
Right.
And we found out that if I mention a demon, you're less likely to click away.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's more exciting than a ghost, I guess. I guess demon implies evil.
Right.
Where a ghost could be anything.
Yep.
So it's a shorthand for a bad ghost.
Yes. Yeah, true. Yeah, you're right about that.
You know?
They get a couple of eyewitnesses who talk about some of the experiences that they've had at this building. There's a new speakeasy they call the Unspoken downstairs. And several people have been like, I've seen vapors down there. I got the vapors.
Yeah.
But like they saw basically, what was it? Like a plume of smoke, a pillar of smoke.
Yeah. First, a couple of people say that they've seen figures out of the corner of their eyes. But yeah, then they go to somebody who says that one time, I don't know why these were the circumstances of them being down there, but whatever. She said that she was down there with a flashlight while it was dark, and she saw multiple standalone pillars of smoke.
Yeah.
What the hell was that?
I have no idea. I don't know what that could possibly be.
So Zach said to her, do you think they're spirits? And she said, yes.
Yes, I do. I'm on Ghost Adventures.
Yeah,
yes, I do. And I'm telling you.
Yeah. I will say I haven't heard of that before.
I'm telling you, Mr. Bagans.
Yeah, you're
What
here.
do you
We're
think I
talking
think
about
it
this.
is?
So obviously that's what I think.
Yeah.
We called you in.
Right.
We didn't call a smoke doctor in.
Yeah, we don't have a smoke doctor on call.
We have a ghost doctor here because I think it's a ghost.
The ghost doctor.
I wonder if the ghost doctor. I wonder if there's a show.
My diagnosis? Spooky.
There must be.
There's got to be a ghost doctor. There's got to be.
I'll look that up at some point. We're too busy talking.
Yeah, we're at work right now.
Right. But yeah, that happened. And then they call in. Now, this was a guy I really enjoyed. I like this guy.
Yes.
They called in a plumber, Mark Hoagland.
Did your head spin?
Yeah. Bob Hoger?
Bob Hoger?
Plumber? This is nothing. This is just...
This is the opposite of a story we're about to tell about our own personal lives.
We found a card or a magnet.
It was a magnet.
Yeah, I thought.
It was a totally normal thing.
It's honestly nothing. I don't know. There was a magnet that said Bob Hoger Plumber on it. And
Just like a business card, but a magnet.
Will and I just started going, Bob Hoger.
Bob Hoger.
Plumber. Yeah.
That's how you introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Your whole name is Bob Hogler Plumber.
Bob Hoger.
And I couldn't believe it when in this episode,
Mark
Hoagland Plumber showed up. I was like, this is fate.
A hop, skip, and a jump from Bob Hoger.
We used to constantly quote that magnet on our parents' fridge for no reason.
Good magnet.
It was a funny name,
Yeah.
Bob Hogler Plumber.
I think it's just Hoger.
Hoger?
Yeah. Bob
Yeah,
Hoger Plumber.
And here's Mark Hoagland. He's
Yep.
probably related.
Probably.
Different name.
Yeah.
But they're plumbers.
They know each other.
Hoag is in there. Mm-hmm. You know the deal.
Come on. So he also reported seeing white smoke acting strangely.
Yeah.
He said that it moved from one side of the building to the other while he was working down there. And he's just very matter of fact about it. He's just like, yeah, I saw it move from there to there. Just like very nonplussed.
I hate to rag on the everyday folks that Zach talks to.
Uh-huh.
However, this is a literal quote from this plumber.
Yeah.
This is the last time we hear from him. This is the last thing he gives us before they cut away to the next part of the adventure.
Dips in and out.
The thing about this building is that when I was in it, it was literally creepy.
I know.
Like, what?
Okay.
What is that? What a great eyewitness testimony. Thing about this building is when I was in it, it was literally creepy.
It was literally creepy.
I mean, there was always something buzzing around. What? Why?
Okay.
Nobody can just say one clear thing. I'm going to a location. All that I've been told about the location is there's a situation.
At the location.
It's literally creepy. like, so vague. I loved it.
I like that Zach says to him after he talks about the smoke thing. He says, like a ghost, and he goes, mm-hmm. He's just like, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And
yeah.
then Zach tells.
What else is there to talk to you about?
Yeah. And Zach tells him about the girl's sighting of smoke acting strangely.
Right.
And that guy, Mark Hoagland, is just like, oh, really? Just completely
Yeah, okay.
nonplussed. And then that's it.
Why is it in the show?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really? Huh.
All right. I wonder if Mark Hoagland, he was dressed kind of like the Boo Crew, the spooky guys.
God,
He was just like a cool guy. He had like a cool guy hat, cool guy
I feel
beard.
like he was just normal.
They look cool.
Yeah.
But I wonder if he was kind of like, you guys need a plumber on your team at all? Like, can I join? You know?
Yeah. Why not?
Why not?
He's nice and low key. He might be kind of a balancing element.
He might, yeah.
Yeah.
Zach pays some lip service to doing some due diligence before you rush to assume it's ghosts.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
He says, with the unspoken bar being underground, we do a quick sweep to determine if these claims can be debunked by any structural or environmental penetration from above ground. But our findings are inconclusive. Oh, what did you do? How much work did you put in to see if there was a plausible explanation? Because in the footage, it just shows you walk upstairs and leave the house.
Right. And you know what? I think that their debunking may have been interrupted by Zach's tummy ache.
Oh, he gets a big tummy ache and he has to lie down on his back outside on the sidewalk.
I wrote, here we go.
Yeah, I know.
I was also doing a lot of
Talk about
explaining.
environmental penetration or whatever he termed it.
Seriously.
Zach, cover your bottom when you sneeze.
Well, it wasn't that kind of tummy ache, though.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I thought it was at first, and I was like, oh, this is awesome.
his boys were always there to rally around him, though, and come up with something that works for the show. All Zach said is, my tummy hurts. And they went, someone was stabbed in the tummy here. Are you feeling residual tummy pain?
He's not averse to admitting to gastrointestinal distress.
Really?
Because one of my favorite things from the show that I have a clip of on my phone from like forever ago.
Look at it every night before you go to bed.
He talked about how he got sugar-free candy in some location, and then he was like farting and a tootin' or something. And I was like, whoa.
I was a fartin' and a tootin'.
It was pretty great.
Okay. All right. I'll give him that.
I mean, it was like one time, but still, I was shocked and delighted.
Yeah.
There's also an episode, again, I had taken video of it, and I remember I sent it to you. I know I sent you both these things, where like they were peeing on a log or something.
Yeah. What was this? I don't remember what this was.
But yeah, it was some sort of, they were debunking something by peeing on a log.
Yeah.
It was very weird.
Zach working on the local ecology.
Got that right. But yeah, so yeah, the next thing we know after this whole thing, after they're like, we're debunking to make sure there isn't whatever, we smash cut to Zach outside, writhing on the ground on his back, groaning. My stomach hurts so bad, Jay. It's literally like someone stabbing me in the stomach. It literally happened the second that I stepped out of that doorway. And he says that this obviously shows something doesn't want him in there. But then the guys theorize that he is experiencing a transference of the pain of someone's violent death in the El Baracho. Maybe someone who was stabbed?
They say it might have been a residual feeling.
Uh-huh.
What? I've never heard that term before in my life. I've heard of residual haunts.
Right.
I understand the notion of like feeling something a ghost felt or something like that.
Yeah,
a residual feeling.
Yeah.
It just sounds fancy.
Yeah, kind of. I feel like it sounds half fancy.
Yeah.
I feel
That's
like almost
correct.
like residual empathy or something.
Yeah,
Almost sounds a little bit more like what it is.
I don't think
or
Zach is
something.
that empathetic, though.
Yeah, I don't really think. He says he is.
He says he is.
Because he picks up on these things from these places. But I
Poor
don't think
Zach.
so.
I saw the original documentary and what he did in that bathtub.
Oh, I know.
I don't think he's that empathetic.
No, neither do I. And one can grow and change. However, what I've seen here in this episode today makes me not think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I'm not saying he's a horrible person or anything.
No, I
know.
Yeah.
Empathy is not the trait that I go to with Zak Bagans.
Yeah, it's not what comes to top of mind.
For those of you who don't know, he in the Ghost Adventures original documentary that kickstarted the show, he finds out that somebody had killed themselves in a bathtub. So he lies in the bathtub and mimes killing himself to get attention from a phantom.
Yeah.
I don't know why it didn't work, but it didn't work. Anyway, he has many traits.
Believe it or not.
Not all of them are terrible, but empathy is not in the pro column for me.
No, I don't think so. So then right after this, they've been like snapping pictures, obviously, or whatever. And they realize, again, they don't dwell on this. They realize that they captured something that they say looks like a skull in one of the pictures.
They just show a blob-ass orb,
Yeah.
like a yellow stain on a phone screen.
That does look like a skull.
Did it? I didn't
could
see
it. I could
anything.
see like the face, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, a face. No, I could see the eyes and like sunken nose
Really?
thing of a skull. Yeah,
I didn't
but
see
I mean,
shit. They smashed a commercial. I was like, ooh, this is getting worse. It started off hot, like a shot out of a cannon. We're going to
It's
a
up and
location
down.
at the rendezvous point. Look
Right.
at this blob. I see my mom in it. There's nothing.
well, I think that they know it was weak because there's nothing else said about this at
Never
all.
talk about it again.
They move on surprisingly quickly from it.
They go into the brothel next, which is where we're going to go next, but we got to take a break.
Yeah, we do.
We have no choice.
Okay, so we just need to make sure that you know that on top of this,
Oh, yeah.
we have a ton of other stuff available at patreon.com/GTTUpod. If you would like to help support the show, which is hugely helpful for us. And
Enormous.
thank you so much to everybody who already does that. We appreciate it so much. We have a number of different tiers you can check out and a podcast that is just for patrons that goes along with those tiers called the Netherworld Dispatch. The top tier is the Demon tier, and those members get a bonus episode every single week on Mondays.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. We also have commentary tracks for a bunch of movies over there. We have an ad-free feed of the regular episodes of Gods the Unknown for everybody from the $4 tier, that's the Ghost tier, on up.
Yep.
We have a Discord. It's awesome. So go check it out.
It takes your Guide to the Unknown experience and dials it up to 11.
You can't imagine what this feels like.
Dare I say, dials it up to 13. The most evil number anyone's ever figured out.
Oh, yeah.
Worth pointing out that Netherworld Dispatch podcast feed also now houses every original episode of our spin-off podcast, Ghost Adventures. So if you crave us talking about Zak Bagans, even when this episode concludes, pounce over there. And the most recent episode of the Netherworld Dispatch was episode 163, titled, Is the Pasta Creepy or Crappy?
Yes.
And people seem to really enjoy this, which I loved to see. We got
me too.
A good amount of comments on Patreon about this episode. We read, a long time ago, saved all these stories that I had read online, scary stories. But I some of them I saved because I liked them, and some I saved because they baffled me, or I call them creepypastas. I mean, let's not mince words.
Right.
But so
crappy
pastas. So we played a little game. I would read Kristen a story and she had to guess whether I really liked it or I didn't really like it.
Yeah, I would close my eyes for the
reading. Was so much fun to do. Go check that out. It's sitting there right now waiting for you, along with all the other Ghost Adventures episodes. And I've got a review for us.
Ooh.
This one comes to us from Borigo, titled One of a Kind. The skepticism that Will and Kristen bring to the table while still wholeheartedly embracing the supernatural makes Guide to the Unknown refreshing and unlike any other podcast in this genre. On Guide to the Unknown, they can take any topic, whether familiar or foreign, and create a funny, engaging show filled with interesting content and fun banter. They've nailed it, and I can't get enough. 5 stars.
That's a really nice review.
Thank you
so much. That is so nice of you. Thank you so much to everybody who has left us reviews. It really makes a difference. It makes us feel great.
Yep.
Thank you for it. If you haven't done that, we would love it if you did leave us a review. And
Spotify has like a stars system. We just this show functions because of the community. And so yes, thank you all so much. And yeah, I love talking about spooky stuff, and I wish I could believe it. I am a skeptic, but I'm glad that it doesn't just become like a poo-poo fest. You know what I mean?
Too.
It's a good time.
Totally.
Even if I believe some stuff, but whatever.
Yeah,
all right.
I do believe it, but just not all of it.
Yeah.
I guess I don't believe most of it, but I do believe some stuff.
You know who I believe in, though?
Who?
Mr. Bagans.
Baggy.
And
I
believe in what I saw.
The Bagel Boss.
The Bagel Boss.
Yeah.
And I believe in what I saw with my own 2 goddamn eyes. I believe in what I saw him do in that brothel room. So
okay, first of all,
no more delays.
Oh yeah. That's right.
One more delay.
Yeah, without delay, we moved to commercials. But right after the commercials, we will be back to tell you some wild shit about the brothel. Okay, so it's happening right after this.
Okay, that was over in the blink of an eye, a wink of an eye.
There's nothing.
It's time. The time has finally come to talk about what happened in that room.
Okay, first of all, when they went to the brothel section, Zak said, "This is it. It's weird to be walking up here. This is where all the sex would happen." And then you can feel the ... under the management of Rose Davy. Like he almost felt like it was too dorky to just say this is where all the sex would happen. So he needed to make it a complete sentence.
Under the management of
Rose Davy.
This is where all the sex would happen is something. I mean, you know what it is? Talk about
breathtaking. It was breathtaking. I loved it when he said that.
Literally breathtaking. Like my breath left my body. I was left gagging, as the kids say.
They don't say I was left gagging. They say like it gagged me.
Yeah, you're right. Oh no, like I fear I may have revealed to everyone I'm not actually one of the kids.
I'm gagged.
I'm afraid that now people know I'm old and out of touch. Getting increasingly out of touch. It left me gagging. Some combination of old and young. Perhaps we could call it middle-aged.
Yeah, right. Look, I'm right there with you. I
know.
But it left me gagging. It's definitely not what kids are commenting under TikTok.
Nah, they say it all the time. They love it. It left me quite gagging. Talk about anti-growth. I feel like the phrase, "this is where all of the sex would happen," is something that Zak Bagans on Wheel of Fortune era might say.
Yeah.
Right? Like the bleach blonde tips talking about doing the funky chicken. It was his first television appearance talking to Pat Sajak about teaching people how to do the funky chicken dance.
Yeah, because he was like a wedding DJ. Yeah.
I feel like this is where all the sex happens. That is something that young man would say.
Did you see recently somebody on Wheel of Fortune, at least the clip went around recently. You did.
Yeah, this is great.
Somebody guessed that the phrase was right in the butt. And Pat St. Just was like, no.
No. And when somebody then was like, what? Somebody gets it right, you know?
I remember what it was. It was like it was not right in the butt.
And all that jazz.
Yeah.
That's correct. It was like so incorrect. Right in the butt. Yeah, my favorite phrase. Right in the butt.
I feel like that would happen to me. I relate to that poor guy.
Oh, you gotta
being
get on
too
Wheel
excited.
of Fortune. You gotta get
I'm
on Wheel
actually
of Fortune.
great at Wheel of Fortune, so
We gotta play some Wheel of Fortune.
William, I've tried to get on Wheel of Fortune, but not in a few years.
No, there are Wheel of Fortune video games that we can compete in each other against. Don't you understand?
Sure. I have applied though, and I have.
We gotta get you on a game show.
Oh God, I know.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah, that I'm good at. Most things I'm not very good at game wise, but Wheel of Fortune I'm good at.
All right, we'll talk about being good at things.
Yeah.
Here is Zak Bagans' narration. Did you write this down? I seriously had to go like frame by frame through this show.
Some
at
I
times.
skipped because I know you do that.
Yeah, I
but
couldn't stop myself.
yeah.
It took so long. He goes, as I explore the space that once housed Rose Davies' brothel, my mind's eye looks past this present day veneer.
Yeah, I know. I was. I let this go specifically because I was like, William is writing this down.
My mind's eye looks past this present day veneer.
It's also just so like contemplative.
Oh my God.
And
another trait I don't ascribe to Mr. Bagans is contemplative.
No, it's funny to think of him being like, my mind's eye is going past this.
My mind's eye drifts past, and it's confusing to me too. It's like a word choice thing, which he doesn't do.
Right.
But it's like, my mind's eye looks past this present. Like past is, use the word beyond. Right. My mind's eye looks beyond this, because you're about to say present, and using past implies like
to muddle it.
Muddies the time.
Yeah.
You know, he's not using it's a homonym. But so he goes, and with all the violence that stemmed from the El Borracho below, these opposite sensations of pleasure and pain.
Oh yeah.
These opposite sensations of pleasure and pain have collided, creating a uniquely charged recipe for unrest that may have birthed something that someone once attempted to lock away.
Yes.
Oh, take two, Mr. Bagans. Hey, write it down this time, Mr. Bagans. That sentence could have ended 5 different times.
Absolutely. Actually, I wrote down what was happening with me. I said I was typing Zak's voiceover about the mixture of pleasure and pain from El Borracho's violence and the brothel. But then I realized it's over a picture of a dead mouse.
Oh my God, I wrote that too.
And I got, like, it threw me off.
I know.
And I was just like, what the
No, I had to pause on that sad dead mouse that they had in this show.
I paused and I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to let William take care of this.
A full screen, beautiful 4K image of a dead mouse lying in dirt.
Why'd they do that?
Some freak ass dark boy.
Oh my God.
Dark boy summer nonsense.
For some reason, I think he's vegan too. So I don't know why.
Well, he probably didn't eat it.
Probably not, but still.
You know who ate it? Bill Tully.
Oh, yeah, the ghost pimp.
The ghost plump.
Ghost plumps.
The original ghost plump. Boink.
Boink.
No one says that when they fist pump. No one says boink when they fist pump. Which seems like
do.
Boink. They say like, what do they say?
Pound?
Booyakasha.
Oh my God.
Yakshamesh. Anyway, I can sense my sanity slipping away.
Yeah, we got to get to the meat and potatoes.
Oh,
I think.
Aaron's meat and potatoes? Aaron's meat and 2 veg?
Yes,
because,
definitely.
all right, so Zak starts trying to talk to Rose in a hotel room.
Yeah.
First of all, confusingly, the brothel had been above the bar, but that's now been, that's not what it is anymore.
Right.
But there was a hotel in the building next door. So Zak and Aaron convinced themselves, well, the ghost of Rose probably is like, well, where's my brothel? So she probably moved next door to where there's hotel rooms. So she's probably over there now.
Right.
Which is like the weakest.
Because they want to put on this little pantomime.
All they want is to find a loophole so they can lie in bed and talk to a dead sex worker.
Yes.
That's the goal. So whatever loophole you got to leap through, it's like, well, she would have haunted the upstairs of the building on the right. But there are no beds there for us to do this. So we'll go to the hotel on the left and say, well, her ghost probably went there because she's confused and thinks, well, this is my brothel.
Yeah, right.
So stupid.
Totally.
But finally, Zak is lying in a bed.
It's so crazy.
Just lying down in a bed for several minutes, he says, while his boys film him with cameras at the foot of the bed. Just a normal day at the office.
Weird thing. And also, they have already decided that Rose's energy is domineering and bossy.
Right.
Because they were using some sort of tool and there was an energy spike.
Oh,
and
God,
they're
yeah.
like, oh boy. And they're like, so she's already bossing us around. Like, she wants us to go on the bed because it like spiked near the bed.
It's the weakest shit. He says, Rose, are you running a brothel in this hotel now? The EMF spikes. And then he says that means they're talking to an intelligent and possibly domineering spirit.
Right.
Possibly domineering.
What about that is
So he
domineering?
says, then Zach says to the air, can I lie down in this bed? And then his narration pipes in, since Rose was a madam, could she be telling me what to do? He just posited, it was your idea to lie down in the bed, Mr.
Right.
Bagans.
Right.
The same way she did the women who worked in her brothel. So I'm going to do what Rose is telling me in hopes of documenting further evidence.
It's so
It was
nuts.
your idea to get in the bed.
And like that kind of energy spike happens every episode and they don't interpret it as bossy and domineering.
Possibly domineering.
You know, except for in this instance.
So here we go.
This is
This is it.
So he lies down on the bed and he says he wants to create an environment that she's familiar with by putting money all over the bed next to him.
He showers his own body.
He just makes it rain. He makes it sprinkle all over himself and next to him.
He sprinkles himself in this bed.
Yeah.
With 20s and 50s.
Yes.
And he says, hey, Rose, do you want to lay in bed with me, Rose?
No.
And then in the room, he ends up, it's quiet for a minute. He goes, maybe she doesn't want me. Maybe I'm not her type. Aaron,
Yeah.
lay down. You look more from that time period. And then the narration pipes in. To our surprise, Aaron is a highly effective trigger object.
I like that they called him a trigger object.
Trigger object. The object of Rose Davies' affection.
Yeah. It's so ridiculous. I mean, I suppose he looks more from that time.
Bald. He does look a little more grizzled than Zach.
Yeah.
He's a little less pampered and primped.
Yes, I
Yeah.
think that's true. He doesn't look like he waxes everything outside of his goatee.
Yeah.
So yeah, now Aaron gets on the bed and they point that XLS camera at him. That
And Microsoft Connect.
Yep.
I played that once when I did Connect Island Animal Adventures or something like that. It was a fun, you go down a river in an inner tube.
Yeah.
And you have to jump at the right moment.
Oh, right
It was
on.
the competitor to the Nintendo Wii. And now it is used for ghost hunting.
Right. So like it's said that it is supposed to map onto a figure, like a human body. And so it creates like a stick figure on the screen that you're looking at. And so if it's creating that stick figure where there isn't a human body that you know of,
Yeah.
that means to them, theoretically, it's picking up on a ghost body
Yes.
that we're not able to see, but it can see with its technology.
Yes.
So they point this at Aaron, and all of a sudden, this figure appears on the bed. So they're like, "Whoa, Aaron! Oh, it's coming or whatever." So, it's jumping ahead slightly to when they were showing this to the owner.
Oh,
of
I've got it.
the
I've got
thing.
the blow by blow.
I do too. I have the stages of this ghostly coitus.
Okay.
So it kind of comes from the foot of the bed. Then it shifts over to Aaron and grabs his hands. Then it moves on top of Aaron and then does things, quote, a woman would do in bed with a client.
Yeah, according to Bill Tolley, she's grabbing him! She's grabbing him, dude! Oh, she's mounting his dick! On Ghost Adventures, Bill Tolley of Ghost Pimps, that was his original group.
Yes. before
Yells,
he
she's
moved on.
grabbing his, well, it's bleeped.
Yeah.
She's mounting his bleep. And then Zach starts jumping up and down and goes, Billy, are you serious? Are you serious? And starts getting all in his face like, whoa, bro, you really said that. You said that for real.
And his velvet
In front of me.
flat brim cap goes askew, and you see his little hairs stuck to his forehead in a way that we've never seen before.
He lost control, as giddy as a schoolboy once again, as he said.
Yes, he absolutely lost control of himself.
Zak Bagans loses his composure, his beloved composure.
He's well known for his composure, and this time he lost it. Then the ghost holds Aaron's hands down, grabbing his belly, they say, and then touching his upper thigh / dick.
Zach says, she's mounting you. And Aaron goes, my wife is going to be so pissed.
Then it grabs the headboard with one arm and then both arms and seems to be gyrating against Aaron. Then it lays down next to Aaron, perhaps for a cigarette, and then disappears.
The second that Zak enters the frame, it blips out of existence.
They are absolutely losing their mind.
They are positively gagging.
Yeah. That I think is probably good. Yeah, I think that's okay. I think it's the voiceover, maybe, I'm not sure, but somebody says this is truly a watershed moment in the history of our XLS evidence, which is not saying much.
We're as giddy as schoolboys because of the unbelievable capture we're now documenting. But I need to remind everyone that this figure, which initially appeared at the foot of the bed and then moved toward Aaron, proves this is a separate entity and not the XLS accidentally mapping him. Mm-hmm. Thank you for reminding us, Zak, that this camera you're using is a Microsoft Kinect.
Yeah.
Which is designed to map where people are.
Right.
So yeah, the stick figure ends up on top of Aaron, who is in the frame.
Uh-huh.
Is this not his stick figure that the camera is trying to make sense of?
Right. I don't know.
It's definitely a ghost that lay down on top of Aaron.
Yeah.
It couldn't possibly be the camera doing the thing it's designed to do.
Right. Totally.
That you're misappropriating for ghost footage.
Honestly, that didn't occur to me. I just kind of thought that they've manipulated this footage and that didn't even happen at all.
No, I did some research.
Okay. Because I was going to say, like, usually when they show these things, and by the way, I am extremely doubtful of XLS footage being anything
Everyone
at all.
should be, yeah.
They don't usually map onto people. You know what I mean? Like, usually when they show these things on these shows, it's like next to them or whatever. Again, it could be that they're putting it there on the shows or whatever. I don't know. But it's not usually on top of them, like trying to map the person. So that didn't even occur to me.
So how do they tell the camera, don't map this person, map
I know.
phantoms in the room?
Honestly, I've never even really thought about it because I just don't buy it. So I don't know.
I did a little research. I looked into the XLS camera because I was curious. Because obviously this was just such a bombastic, Aaron has ghost sex.
Yeah.
And so the world explodes with excitement.
Right.
But it's more complicated than that. So I found a YouTube channel called World of Mr. Gray, who tries to break, and I'll have this in the show notes, scaryfun.fun for this episode. You can watch these videos I'm about to talk about if you're curious about this.
Yeah.
So Mr. Gray says that he always dismisses any time a ghost show uses an XLS or SLS camera to map where a person is, where a ghost is, because he knows about those cameras, and the thing about them is that when Microsoft designed this camera, it uses like lasers, like LiDAR, I guess, to map three-dimensional space and try to figure out where people are. It's designed to find your eyes, your shoulders, your elbows, and then it can map the rest of your body just using math. So it's looking for human shapes exclusively.
Yeah.
Humanoid shapes. And he says that the key important thing about the Microsoft Kinect, or these cameras now, is that they're designed to be stationary. You put them beneath your TV or on your desk or whatever, and you never move them again.
Yeah.
Because if you keep holding it, the 3D space it's trying to map is constantly changing. The perspective is changing. All the angles are changing constantly. And that's why you get those jittery effect that all these ghosts have, where they're constantly moving like they're dancing around. It's meant to be sat still. To be able to do this effectively.
Do people use this still today for purposes not for ghosts?
No, no way. This was like a failed product. I think Microsoft found other applications for it for other industries or something. I'm not sure. But I was able to validate basically what he said, and I'm not trying to throw shade at all. This person seemed very nice. I'm just trying to specifically talk about how this technology works.
Yeah.
A YouTube channel called Dalen Spratt. Again, check the show notes for a link. He's like a ghost YouTuber. His intro video, he's got the XLS camera mounted. It's got to be on like a tripod. And he's walking toward the camera. And the stick figure maps to his body perfectly.
Yeah.
Not jumpy, not jittery, perfectly stable as he grows in the frame because he's walking closer to the camera.
Yeah.
And then he cuts, and it's him doing a handheld camera thing with the XLS camera walking through a graveyard. And it's got all these jittery, scary stick figures in the graveyard. Because now you're using this camera that's not supposed to move.
Searching for stuff,
as a handheld camera.
Yeah.
And it can't figure out what's going on, but its only job is to find human shapes.
That makes sense.
So it's picking up all kinds of conflicting information.
Yeah.
So, ghost hunting shows the ghost that mounts Aaron's bleep. It's because Bill Tolley is standing there giggling.
Losing his mind.
Losing his lunch. The boy from Ghost Pimps is about to hork himself because he's using this stable camera as a handheld camera.
Yeah.
And it doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So if anyone out there was under the impression that this was a ghost.
Just got so lucky that like.
Yes. Absolutely. And they will dine out on this for the rest of the episode.
I honestly thought that they like did it in post or something.
No, they got lucky. I think they got lucky.
They got really lucky.
I think Aaron got lucky.
Well, you got that right. But like it went for the headboard and stuff.
I know.
But that makes total sense if you're like, it's looking for shoulders, whatever.
Yes.
Like a headboard could mimic kind of like those
maybe it's
sorts
like
of
this
angles.
is a shape. I don't know what's going on.
Right.
The 3D space I'm trying to map keeps shifting because Bill Tolley of Ghost Pimps is giggling, holding me.
Formerly of Ghost Pimps, let's be fair.
Once a ghost pimp.
I was about to say, actually.
Always a ghost pimp.
Do you
I'm sorry.
ever leave Ghost Pimps?
No.
I don't think so either.
Absolutely not.
I know. As I said the words, I wanted to take them back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll clean your mouth out with soap. So anyway, hilarious. Yes. And we can constantly replay this footage.
Oh, yeah.
It's like 20 minutes of this episode is just replaying this footage and talking about it.
Oh, totally.
Which makes sense. I mean, they've got something stupid to look at, and it's funny.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if anybody had any doubt, I decided to just do a little digging. And I'm not pretending I know everything about this technology, but it sure doesn't seem like it's being used for any proper application.
Yeah.
I even looked at the Ghost Adventures subreddit a lot to see people's reactions. The Ghost Adventures now it's Reddit, right?
Yeah.
But like, so it's sort of it should be expected, I guess, that like on Reddit, people all seem to love and hate the show simultaneously, where they're like, I don't believe a goddamn word, but I can't stop watching this. I love it.
Yeah.
So nobody believes anything that Ghost Adventures guys are getting.
Right.
But this is going to be their one claim to fame of this episode. And it's like bombastic and completely implausible simultaneously.
Yeah. On Twitter, I'm surprised. People are, I would say, more firmly in the pro camp. They love it and they buy it.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Not this necessarily specifically, but I've been surprised to see that it's less mixed than Reddit.
Interesting. Well, Reddit is notoriously.
Yeah. But still, I mean, I think Twitter would be pretty mix it up too, but no, not really.
True.
So from here, I mean, you know, it's certainly less exciting. It feels like this should have been the climax of the episode.
It really should have been, yeah.
It honestly should have been, but now they go into their classic lockdown mode to do investigations. So it's nighttime. They're checking out the place. They use a device that I haven't seen used before. I didn't really understand what it was. I think they said it's a walkie-talkie or something akin to a walkie-talkie, that they have learned that from doing their spin-off show House Calls reaches the astral plane. So they started off with Zak talking to this thing and being like, okay, Rose, we're going to be exploring the place. I don't know, just like talking to her.
I think I misunderstood. I thought they were just walkie-talkies, but they were like, we're putting them in every room because we feel like ghosts can hear walkie-talkies better. Or something. I have no idea.
They said that they've learned from doing house calls that this can reach the astral plane better. And I think it was walkie-talkies or something. And so in the course of doing this, talking to the walkie-talkies, he says the word evil.
Yeah.
And when he says the word evil, it causes the camera to glitch. So then Zak goes into action mode. It's like, go, go, go. So they race to the room that camera was trained on to go check it out. And they get there and it is the bar. And he says that when he walks in, he's like, whoa, whoa. And he says that he saw a woman on her knees who turned around and looked at him with black hair and shining eyes. Now, given the setting and that Aaron just had ghost sex, I thought it was going to be like, oh, he saw a woman on her knees. It's like a blowy thing. But when he demonstrates
There's some Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah. When he demonstrates it, he demonstrates a one knee kneel, like somebody proposing. So that's like not what he was saying.
Tebow. Does anyone talk about Tebow anymore?
Tim
Tim
Tebow?
Tebow. Yeah.
Is that like what?
He took a knee. That's my one and only sports reference.
I don't know. But yes, like Tebow.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that happened. And I feel like it's like a lot of standard stuff here. They see a shadow of a stocky man.
Yeah, this was stupid too. They keep being like, none of us have moved. In this photo, there's no shadow on the wall. And then in the next photo, there's a shadow on the wall, but none of us moved. And he goes, I'll cut to the wide angle to show you that none of us moved. And they show Aaron's arm moving, holding a light. It's like, yeah, your feet didn't move, but you're changing all the shadows because you're moving that light around.
Right.
Yeah, dingbat. They even show his point of view and how close he was standing to Bill Tully and therefore could have cast his shadow on that door. Like in trying to prove that I
couldn't focus on this. It was too stupid.
That's my point though, is like the show's so dopey.
Yeah.
Stop trying to pretend that there is any other. Just get the evidence and react to it. Don't try to prove to me that you're good at capturing evidence.
And yeah,
you contaminate everything you touch.
Right. Like you're gathering it so scientifically.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, no, you're not.
No.
So whatever. They at one point, even Jay, who's the most low key of the gang by far,
Jay Wasley, he sits back in the nerve center.
He's not usually too bombastic. Now even Jay gets a chill. He says he feels like he's a giant ice cube. And he is much less likely to freak out than the rest of them. So now I sit up.
Yes.
Now I'm listening. I was zoned out while they're talking about the shadow. Jay says he's a giant ice cube. I said, what?
Yeah.
But, whatever.
What are you to do with that?
Nothing to do with
they
it.
just stand around talking about their feelings again.
Yeah, exactly.
Looking at their arms. I'm cold. Are you cold? I'm cold.
Yeah,
I'm colder than you.
They all become cold.
I'm a giant ice cube.
They start using one of those radio sweeping devices that's often called a spirit box, where it's like high radio frequencies going really, really fast, and you can potentially catch certain words. And the idea is that perhaps spirits are manipulating these radio waves to get through what messages they want to get through to you.
Yes, I was amused by that. Zach says that we're going to conduct an immediate ITC session using the APFD processor with the PSB7 Pro. Oh, okay. Well, then unimpeachable.
Right, I know.
Because you've got so much technology at your disposal.
Just a bunch of fancy words.
Nonsense.
Totally. Zach says, did I just capture you on camera? And gets back, no doubt. So that's proof. And they flip. He asks for the person's name. And they say, can't say. And then he asks, where do you want us to go? And they hear $28 in response. So they're all like, oh,
Brothel.
That's Rose Davy saying how much it'll be.
$28, bro. Whoa. Out of curiosity. I checked.
Yeah.
Rose Davies was active somewhere in the 40s and 50s as a madam.
Yep.
Maybe earlier. $28 in 1940 is worth $627 today. Bit pricey.
Well,
Methinks for Ogden, Utah.
Maybe they really had the goods.
I also looked at a website that tried to estimate the cost, and it was like it topped out at like $250 for top of the line.
Okay, so probably not $28.
Probably not $28.
Maybe it's to buy the brothel.
But also remember, yeah, exactly. But also remember that $28 was in response to where do you want us to go?
Yeah, I know.
So just question, nonsense answer, find a way to make the answer make sense.
I also found something interesting about Rose Davy that they left out. I feel like to include this would take away a little bit from the mystique of like a madam, like a woman doing it on her own. Rose Davy actually ran this brothel with her husband. They worked together on this enterprise. Okay. And there's not a ton known about them. Rough crowd, it seemed like they ran with.
Sure.
And there's kind of a mystery around them modern day because there was a written interview with them found like a handful of years ago. That's also in the show notes at scaryfun.fun. But the interview was written in shorthand, which is like a lost art, which you know what? This is something I didn't know about until a book I read just recently. Shorthand was kind of what it sounds like. It's just a way of writing things down that's almost like a code.
Okay.
And very few people know shorthand today and can read it.
Huh.
So they are having a hard time, I don't know how hard they have looked, people in Utah who are interested in this, finding somebody who can read shorthand to translate this interview that was conducted with Rose Davy.
That's interesting.
About
That's very interesting.
her life or whatever. Yeah. And just to close the loop, the book that I read was a fiction book called The Alperton Angels. It was only okay. And there's a plot point about something that was written down in shorthand, and they had to hunt down somebody who could translate it.
That's very fun.
Yeah.
It's funny to me. Like, Ghost Adventures is giving you exactly what you want from Ghost Adventures.
Yeah.
And, maybe this is a harder sell, but I would find it so much more interesting to have a show that, like, did this ghost hunting stuff and got into some of that, like, weirder real life history.
Yeah.
Even if there's not a good answer behind it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why it all has to be Zak Bagans. He's mounting you, bro. My wife is going to be so mad at me. Did you have sex with a ghost today, Aaron? Did you?
Did you?
No.
No, I mean, it's so weird to me. Like, I just kind of did like a quick scan, but like there was nothing to indicate that there was even a time period where she was doing this on her own. I think it was Rose Davy and her husband.
Interesting.
But it's a better story that it's like just Rose Davy, this wild woman, was running a brothel. Like that. I mean, that is a sweet story that like a woman is like doing it on her own, whatever. But it's not true.
A badass of the old ways.
Yeah. So, she says the $28 thing, which means nothing.
Yeah.
They go back to the hotel. Zach gets the dizzies from going into room 3. What do you have? I mean, it's all pretty standard.
It all just falls apart after Aaron got mounted.
Yeah.
And Bill Tolley craps his pants.
There can't be anything else that's going to top that.
No. The walkie-talkie makes weird noises. They say they hear a female moan and singing and stuff.
The walkie-talkie does make a weird noise. It's like, rah, rah, meow, meow.
Yeah. Everyone on Reddit is like, it's kids messing with them. Kids like hopping on their walkie-talkie frequency, and now it's just in the show.
Have you ever seen, I'm sure there are many of them, but like a video of somebody somehow accessing the like radio system in an airplane, just being like,
I think so. Because the kind of person who's clever enough to break in isn't clever enough to have anything to actually say when they do it. So I'll hijack your frequency, just be like,
I think it's so.
Ladies and gentlemen, please disregard that. That was not the pilot.
I know that I retweeted one a while ago. I just want to scan through.
Because they're in the bathroom. They're in the bathroom and they can't say anything too loud or people are going to know it's like the guy in seat 27C.
Totally. I think it's so funny.
Such cleverness to get into the sound system and then nothing to say.
Yep, totally.
So they hear a door shut, they hear footsteps, it leads them to a photo of Rose's mugshot.
Yeah.
An anomaly floats past Billy.
Oh yeah, they say it rises. It said it rises to Billy. It seems to notice him, and then it moves away.
It's like one of those speck of dust orbs.
Yeah,
nonsense.
It notices him and moves away. Why didn't it notice him until it got to his head level?
Yeah,
a full-grown man.
The last ghost thing they do is they bring out the paranormal puck, which is basically the same thing as the PSB7 spirit box thing. Mm-hmm. It just you say stuff and then it gives you a word. So they ask, "How many ghosts are here?" And the answer is above.
Yeah.
Which is a nonsense answer.
Yeah.
Don't use it. How many ghosts are here? Above.
Above.
But of course they go, wait, above where we are right now? That's where the rooms are, bro. The rooms are above us. Whoa, whoa. It's like, well, what does that mean? How does that answer how many ghosts are here?
But it ends on a gorgeous note.
This was fun. What's in the basement? Mm-hmm. Rose.
Love.
Pretty fun.
Loved it.
This whole episode's been about Rose Davy.
Yeah.
And this paranormal puck, Bill Chappell's paranormal puck, says Rose is in the basement.
It's a beautiful topper.
They start talking about how they feel cold, and then they start thanking Rose, which I also kind of liked. They say,
"Oh, that's something I wanted to comment on. I'm glad they did that.
Yeah.
I thought it was very weird. I understand that they were flipping out. I thought it was weird that when they thought that Rose was having her way with Aaron upstairs, that they didn't talk to Rose. They were flipping out. They thought that this person was in the room with them, ostensibly, right? Why wouldn't you be like, Rose? I don't know, just talk to Rose. She's here.
She's mounting you, bro.
Yeah, you think that there's a ghost in the room with you. Why don't you be a nice person if we're saying that this is a human who has died and you theoretically want to make contact with ghosts?
Yeah.
Why don't you talk to this ghost?
Yeah, you're right.
You know, I thought it was weird. They're just talking around her. It was frankly rude.
That is kind of rude.
We should be.
They just turn into frat boys.
Yeah, if we're gonna say that these are people, then talk to them like a person because you know they're in the room right now.
You're absolutely right. Here's something else that's kind of.
I thought that was shitty.
Here's something else that's kind of weird. The whole premise of lying in the bed was like, I'm gonna make a situation that might be familiar to Rose.
Yeah.
So Zach sprinkles money on the bed.
Yeah.
And then the segment ends with him gathering up all the money and wrapping it in a rubber band again to put it back in his pocket. They coerced a ghost into sex
and then took the money.
Couldn't pay her.
Yeah.
She's on the... What's the ethics of that?
Left a little bit. Like, you know how you can leave, like, offerings for spirits?
Yeah.
Leave a 50, Zach.
At least a milk dud on the pillow.
No, you're absolutely right.
That's weird, right? Like,
yes, it is weird.
What's the morality of offering to pay a ghost for... You know what? I think...
It's immoral.
I think the Ogden, Utah Vice Squad should investigate Zak Bagans.
I think so, too. I think they should descend upon him.
I think they should, because technically... what's that called? Where you offer money... Whatever.
I don't know.
Okay, whatever. He did that.
Yeah.
I also thought it was funny, though, when they show the owner of the house, they're so giddy about that footage. They're like, now look at this footage. Now, Zach says this. We are very serious investigators, but we're also humorous guys.
Oh, I know.
At least we think so.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I can't wait to tune into the Humorous Guys podcast with Zach and Aaron.
Guys portion of this.
Now time for a Humorous Guys segment.
I'm kind of surprised they don't have a podcast now that you say that.
You're right.
Like, they have so many spin-offs of this. Like there's like Screaming Room and I don't know what
House
else.
Calls and
yeah.
You're right. While Zach brings it home, the episode of course concludes with some of his narration. It's the Jerry Springer's final thoughts.
Yep.
It is extremely apparent that Rose Davy is living beyond her death and still running a brothel in the afterlife.
Is she?
Is she?
I know.
She's still running a brothel in the afterlife?
You seem to think that it was definitely her doing the mounting, which would imply it's just her.
What's going on?
Yeah.
We will also continue to ask ourselves, who was the dark shadow figure that was seen in the doorway? An incredible investigation that we will never forget. Especially Aaron. Boing.
Oh, Aaron.
And so concludes the season 28 premiere of Ghost Adventures.
Oh, what a show. What an insane show.
What a show. What a showman.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
A little P.T. Barnum action.
Yeah.
And some actual action.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this really had it all.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
It had sex and violence.
I watched this smut.
That's right. As Americans, this is what we like.
That's true.
Yeah.
You know what? This is America.
Yeah.
Get used to it.
What do you think? Look at yourselves.
Look in the mirror.
This is the mirror.
You held your hand up. This is the mirror.
This is the mirror.
All right.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed it. As we said before, if you'd like more of the show, go to patreon.com/GTTUpod. Check out our wares. Thank you so much to everybody who's already there. You can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. And you can also follow us online. We are at GTTUpod. We post whenever we're going live and about new episodes over there. You can also follow us on social media individually. I am at Chillin' Kristen.
I am at The Myth Traveler. So we'll be back next week with more spooky, creepy, freaky stuff. But until that time comes, we must travel.
Back to the netherworld go we. And if you ever find yourself in Ogden, Utah, stop into the Unspoken Bar. And hey, tell Rose Davy we said hi.
Bring $28.